So today we're going to be talking about the latest quantum stock market integration. So that's some pretty cool stuff. You guys must be very excited. Got a lot of great things to talk about today. Who am I? I'm Stephen Powell, manager of Stockmarket.Aero, responsible for the ongoing development and execution of component controls Stockmarket.Aero services. So as far as associating some names to faces, faces to names, we have the stock market members, the team. We have myself, we have Maury up here, head of sales. We have Michelle. Michelle is in the audience. If she wants to wave her hands, there she is in the back. Michelle handles our content for our non-stock market customers, importing in spreadsheets, managing that, policing that. We have Anik. I don't think Anik is here, but she's our design specialist. She does some really great work. She will. She manages a lot of the logos. If a company needs a logo size a certain way, or if they need a banner ad put together differently, she helps out with that. It's really great. Mr. Brown is our tech support specialist. It's on here as well. And today's panel includes a number of those, but also includes some ambassadors. We have Jason Blessing from the Northwest Territories, and Heather Dart from the East Coast Territories, and Thomas. Thomas is from the Northern Los Angeles District. So Cole actually is in the session next door, so that's okay. I think we'll do fine without him. So what is Stockmarket.Aero? Everybody's familiar with Stockmarket.Aero, right? Can I get a show of hands? Yeah? Everybody posting stock lines? It's excellent. Stockmarket.Aero is the fastest growing e-marketplace. We have our real-time inventory listing available to all quantum users. So if you feel like your company is not taking advantage of this real-time stock listing, make sure you come talk to me and we'll make things easy for you. So here's where we find some more information. Now I know you all are getting copies of these PowerPoints afterwards. So when you're going through here, you'll be able to find the links here. We have, of course, a link to Stockmarket.Aero, the Stockmarket.Aero product page on the component control website. Now, one of my favorite links on here I'm going to click is the training page. I really do suggest everyone go take a look at this page, take a look at these videos. It goes over all of the basic and advanced features for taking advantage of the Stockmarket.Aero data in your quantum database. Some very cool stuff. I'm sure you'll all go home and tell your coworkers how cool all these features are. So in this session, we're going to be going over the new stock market module in Quantum. That's going to be very exciting. It's a new way to really take advantage of what stock you have and what stock you want to make visible to the stock market. We're going to be talking about AVREF options, the inventory control module. We're going to be talking about data entry shortcuts using the QCC files. That's an especially great feature. New options to allow stock lines reserved on repair orders to stay visible onto Stockmarket.Aero. That's very cool. Government procurement options in the customer quote module. Adding vendor quotes onto your customer quote in the customer quote module. Improved exclude list features, flagging capabilities on your quantum database, using the inventory module to access Stockmarket.Aero, and also posting images for the public to see. We're talking about data filtering, private communities, pre-pricing tool. So we've got a whole lot of things to talk about, so we'll go ahead and get started. Now first I'm going to be speaking about the the new stock market module in Quantum. This is available to everyone who upgrades to version 10.5, which will be available soon. I'm actually going to go into our test future environment to show this off a little more. And so we have right here, has its own module right here. We're going to open it up. Now you'll notice right away how cool this is. We have here up at the top a set of filters to make the stock lines that you want to show available. And then we have some tools to easily take them on or take them off stockmarket.arrow. So let's say in this example I want only stock lines available. I want stock lines that are not yet visible on the stock market. I'm going to use some of these great warehouse features. So selecting a warehouse. Maybe within this warehouse I want to select a different couple locations. So once we have the filters that we want, we can hit the refresh button and it's going to pull up a list of stock lines for those filters. Now this screen is controlled by fetch size, just like most browse screens in Quantum, so you will need to keep aware of that. But what's great about this, so now I can come in here, I can hit the All button, and I can easily, right here, select Add to Stock Market. Before this tool, you would actually have to drill down into every single stock line and make sure that you flag the stock line here, which is great, it gives you a lot of control. But now you have even more control. So we get some customers who are very attached to spreadsheets because spreadsheets are very convenient for stock, uploading stock. And so what this does is this gives you more power than spreadsheets. And it's very cool. And I'll show you one of the best parts about this is you saw how I just flagged everything. We can come in here and just double click what we do or don't want selected. Very cool, right? Right, yeah. And so I'm going to go ahead and just hit the Add to Stock Market right here. And we see our progress bar coming over down at the bottom. And so at this point we can minimize this module and take care of some of the other things we want to get done. Now some of you might be saying, Stephen, this is great for stock, but I'm a manufacturing facility. And I say to you, manufacturing facility, there's a great way to take advantage of these tools as far as advertising your capabilities as well. So now we have the same powerful tools for the stock over here on the Capabilities tab. So that's really great. We can go ahead and use our refresh button to pull up some parts. Now what's really neato about the capabilities is instead of having one flag, we have 7 flags. So you can easily come in here and modify and change and select very quickly. So we have this part right here. I want to flag for manufacturing. I want to flag for distribution. I want to flag for repair. Easily come in and modify part per part each separate capability. Now, of course, we have our options down here at the bottom for the all and none, and that's going to select by whichever row you're selecting. So I want all of these by my filters. I select all. I want them to be manufacturer. I come over here to manufacturer. I also select all. And I just click our fun Add to Stock Market button, and it starts working for us. So very excited about this new module. It's going to open up a lot of opportunities for giving yourself as the vendor the power to have visibility and ease of use for your stock market parts. Any questions regarding that function? Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I can't hear you. Could we get him a mic? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Andrei Volodka, Field Technics. We as repair shop, we have some capability, and it's about 300, 400 lines. From this module to showing, it's I can select everything or nothing, let's say, or go line by line selecting. So for us, it would be more convenient, and for other shops, I think, to have some bulk processing tool, because still, if I have to click 7 by 500, it will be too much clicks. I will have to stay there clicking for 4 hours. So for the stock is okay, but for capability, he'll still have some ideas to improve, I think. Thank you.
Well, if we come over back to the module here, now here you can take advantage of the filters up at the top, and so you can say maybe you want to filter by a group code or a manufacturer. Yes, Steve.
Facilitate the presentation of your capabilities and inventory real time on Stockmarket. And Steve, what he's talking right now is not about sourcing, and I think if you refer to the purchase order, means that you're in the process of sourcing.
No. I mean that the list of the parts that we should put as our capability is not taken by manufacturer of the parts. It's taken by authority confirmed lists. It could be 200 items, it could be 2,000 items, it could be 10,000 items from different manufacturers, from different type of the parts. So these filters that I checked on the top are not giving the selected features for us that we can easily collect the parts that are in our capability list. This is what I would like to say.
Now, this is a module in its infancy. It's just coming out in 10.5. So if you could come find me maybe during the round tables, we can talk about what other filters on here would be helpful to you. But with the appropriate filters on here, so say we have group codes on our master parts, we can select which group codes we want. We can refresh what parts we have available, and we can easily press the All button on here. And so we don't have to double click for every single part. Pressing the All button with the appropriate filters will give you that power. Now, if the filters that you're looking for are not a part of this, you can come talk to me afterwards, and we can talk about how to make this the best module we can make.
Okay, sure, thank you.
The idea of the tool is exactly to do that. You have a massive amount of ability to bring in as much data as you like in one shot. Now you can bring all of your inventory in one shot. You can view by part number, you can view by consignment, you can view by product line. So those filters on the left, you go through those for a minute, Steve? The one on the left is right, the current defined
I'm sorry, which filters? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so these filters here?
This is stock.
Yes. So these are the filters we have at the moment for the master parts. So this filter list is going to be a growing list. And so that's where, we're going to need feedback from you guys, from Q Group, in order to help make sure that we have the filters on here for the proper stock and the proper capabilities so that you guys can get the most control out of your system. Excellent. Any other? That was an excellent question. Thank you. Yes.
So we have the information, and if we if we have the information in the part number and the stock lines, is this going to override that information?
Nope, it reflects that information. So not only can you use this tool to easily flag stock to be on the stock market, but you can use this tool to have more visibility of what is on the stock market. So this is not going to override what you have. It's going to show you what you have, and then you can modify that.
Okay. So whatever we put on here will transfer over to
And vice
the actual
versa.
master part list.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
the things that these parts at the moment, I can't recall if we actually
This is going
applied
to make
this
it
filter.
much easier.
Yes. Yeah, we're all very excited. This is going to be a very great tool for people who have certain specifics for flagging capabilities or master parts. Any other questions? And of course, we'll have a round table at the end of the day. So let it soak in, and come talk to me some more. It'll be good. All right, and next we talk about we have the government procurement history function in the master part here, and so that's a great link to quickly access that information. We also have, for improving some of your cross-references and alternates, we have the ability to attach the AVREF database into your alternate section, so you can then add them into your database, similar to if you wanted to add a master part. And so that is a great feature. Really take advantage of because then you can advertise that alternate on Stockmarket. So really help flesh out your database. Oh, data entry shortcuts using the QCC file. This is one of my favorite tools here. And so what we can have is, so if a customer is out on your database or in stockmarket.arrow or in Quantum searching for a certain part, and they send you a request for quote, you will receive that request for quote email. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up Outlook so we can take a look at what that email is going to look like. So something that Stockmarket really prides itself on is every single step of the way as far as the vendor and customer interaction. We always want to make sure that we create visibility between yourselves and your customers, so that every single step there's always a name, there's a phone number, there's an email address, so that you can always be able to pick up the phone, pick up an email, because we know that so many actual purchasing transactions take place over the phone. And so stockmarket.arrow, the number one concern really is being able to provide you with that visibility so that people can purchase those parts from you. And so you'll see here the really basic information, nice and forefront right here. We have the QCC file attachment. So we go ahead and double click on this QCC file attachment, and it's going to pull up Quantum, and it says, would you like to create a customer quote for Luke's Training Company? So right away, you don't have to print things out, you don't have to look over, there's no data entry, it just jumps right into your Quantum. And these sort of shortcuts, these sort of data entry shortcuts are just so cool, very important. Really, it removes a lot of user error, and it also saves time. So first it's going to pull up the customer quote header. We go ahead and hit OK. And then it's going to pull up the customer quote line item, which is that same information from the quote being pulled right into your system. Now the values that it's looking for in order to automatically send a quote back are the quantity quoted and the quote price. So I'm going to go ahead, and Luke's demo company, I don't know if you guys got that, but he's asking for one part. I'm going to give him one part. I'm going to sell it to him for $100 because I'm such a nice guy. I'm going to put in some stock market notes. $100. And we're going to hit OK, and boom, it's going to send us that message that says quote has been sent. So now Luke, if he is a Quantum customer, he's going to receive an email with a QCC file that's going to be able to update his vendor quote file. Again, data entry shortcuts, so important, so exciting. Any questions on the QCC file? And we'll have some time for questions at the end as well. So additional data entry shortcuts. We're going to talk about the company info. So I'm going to jump into Quantum. I'm going to search for a part. I'm going to use the green button in order to see the vendors that have this part available. And we see here at every single step of the way we have the View Company Info button. And the View Company Info button is going to pull up the company profile description, shipping address, actual address, salesman name, fax number, phone number, email address. Again, this is part of that visibility that we talked about. So now part of the data entry shortcuts that we talked about is the Add Company feature. So boom, we hit that button. If you don't have that company in your Quantum database, it adds it. All of that shipping information, all those phone numbers, that fax number, no more having to write things down on a piece of paper and then write things down into your Quantum. So very, very cool features. Right, guys? Does anybody take advantage of those features? You guys will certainly do now, right? Yes, miss, do you have a question?
If you're adding the company through that way, is it putting it in an unverified start with?
I'm sorry.
Unverified company?
I'm not sure. I don't think it flags the verified company. It only flags the vendor flag here. So you would then need to come back and make that adjustment.
Okay.
All right, and next we have Ms. Dart coming up and speaking about some of the new stock market repair order options.
Thank you, Steve. First thing we want to talk about this morning is the stock lines. How many of you get the phone calls for stock that you already have reserved to a sales order and you have to call the guy back and say, oh, I'm so sorry, that's already reserved? What about on a repair order? They call you up, send you an RFQ. Oh, no, that part's already on a repair order and we've got it, but it'll be here in 2 weeks, right? What this new option does, it allows you to actually lock off the stock and delist it from the stock market while it's on a repair order. When it comes back from the repair order, it then relists it in the new condition that it is actively in your stock. In our customer quote module, we also have down at the bottom under the stock market, and we'll get into the stock market thing here down at the bottom. See it down there? It's government procurement history. We do show you now in the quote module the actual government procurement history, the same information you would get on the website or through the inventory control panel. How many of y'all get information? Maybe I should ask it this way first. How many of y'all know what a spreadsheet is? Oh, come on, guys. How many of y'all know what a spreadsheet is? Okay. We get data every day. Data is transferred from person to person in a spreadsheet format. The manual entry of the spreadsheet is very difficult, and of course, how many use our import feature to import data? Yeah, see, thank you. We got hands out there now. Okay, so when we're using the import, you've got 500 lines, you've got 100 lines, you've got 50 lines. You need to source some of these parts, you need to source all of them. You want to find parts on Stockmarket, okay? So we're going to flip real quick into Quantum. And back out of here. Okay, so we have a quote, and for the ease of this presentation, I didn't do a spreadsheet for you. You know, I was thinking I should really have like a 5,000 line quote. No. We're just going to go ahead and add one more line to this. So we're going to use part A100. You guys have never seen that part number before, right? No, I didn't think so. It's kind of like that 809, 809. Okay, so I've added this part. My customer wants 2 parts to my quote. Okay, so I've got a 2-line quote. How do I source this? There are multiple ways. In some cases, I'm going to have some of the parts, and I'll need to source some of them. In others, I have none, and I just want to see what's available on this list. We have multiple ways for you to go onto the stock market and actually view the visibility of the part. The first one is right here. You guys have all seen this button, right? Used it? Hands? Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so there's this button here, and what this does is it goes out to the stock market and it queries for these 2 part numbers and brings back results. Okay, and A100 and 809, 809, there's a lot of them. It's bringing them back, brings back both of them. This is the most common used. We get back all of the data. $10 minutes? Really? And you're not doing 809, 809?
No, we're doing selected records,
Uh-huh.
one by one, and much faster than because it's everything is created as one line.
Right.
If we search for something similar to openness,
Right. Okay.
It's true. Searching less parts is going to be faster.
Okay, so what we have here is an extensive list of our parts. From this, we can flag specific that we want to send. We can do all, we can do none. We can, right here, as Steve just said earlier, we've got the view company information. I can pick up the phone and I can call the guy, okay? I can also see where he's located. I can see the company information. You'll notice, I don't know if you did notice when I clicked on this, we have the company profile at the very top. This company tells you right up front, minimum purchase, line item purchase. So you've got this information right up front and available to you as you're creating your RFQs. Okay? That's one way we can do it. Another way we can do it is down here on the drop box that I showed you in the previous one. Here's your search government contract history. That's the one we showed you on the previous slide. We also have a couple of options up here. Okay, I can select one part and search. When I do the select one part and search, it is actually identifying which line I have highlighted here, and it will send just my highlighted line to the stock market and search that one part number. If I do a selective part search, this might be a case where I have a 100-line quote, and I go ahead and I click the selective part. It gives me the 500 lines, and I have the ability at this time to control how many lines I send to the stock market. So I can flag none, and then I can just go back, and if I only want to do, it depends on my percentage. Am I going to do 50%? Am I going to do 90%? If I'm going to send 90%, I'm going to do the all and then unselect. Versus if I'm only going to send 5%, I'm going to do the none and then select the ones I want. Okay, and then after that, I'm going to go ahead and click the Search Stock Market. We also have the ability to search all, which is the same as our little shortcut button up here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a selective part search on, I'm just going to do 809, 809. You'll notice it brings me back, hopefully not quite as long, but it brings me back to the same screen that we saw previously, and I'm able to select which option I want. So if I flag, and I can use the space bar to flag them, I keep going down there, and my down arrow, keyboard shortcuts, I can skip the fact that, okay, if I've got multiple companies, Aviatronics, I may not want to send them two, I'll just send them one RFQ. Okay, when I'm done, I'm going to add the vendors to the quote. What this does is it creates the RFQs for the companies that I've flagged only. When we come down here, we'll notice that my vendors are going to populate down here. And if I go to A100, they are not there. If I go to 809, 809, they are. So I send only for the one line. My RFQs are now created. I have one more step to go. I'm going to go to global, and I'm going to do RFQ to vendors. Okay, so that's the manual way to pick and choose, be selective of what I send out onto the stock market and RFQ for my vendors. If I have a list where I have no parts, I have no idea who has it, who doesn't, and I just want to blast it out there and get back as many results as I can, we have a very fabulous one source all, an RFQ in one click. Okay, so what this does is when I click it, it will blast, it'll do everything that I just did manually in the background, assuming that in every step of the process I did that select all. Okay, so I'm going to select all of the parts on my quote. I'm going to select all of the vendors that on stock market that are listing the part. Does that make sense? In this case, keep in mind this is a live database. I'm not going to go ahead and send a select all. We're just going to stay away from that one. Any questions? I'm going to turn it over to Thomas over to turn it, and there you go.
Thank you, Heather. So a large part of what I do when I go on site and implement a new company is cover the stock market with them. And this exclude list feature here is one of the most used or popular functions that I talk about, because it gives you the ability to block who sees what you're listing. Perhaps someone is constantly pricing you with RFQs and it never turns into a quote or a sale. We have the ability to take that customer and exclude them from seeing what you're listing. It all starts here in the setup of the stock market. You can see down in the system setup all the way down to the stock market, and then the exclude list, right? Do a slide here. Okay. The exclude list is pretty much a search. Jason, let's how do I do this here? Escape. Okay. I'll take you into Quantum here and show it to you. In the system setup, under the stock market here, we have the exclude list, right? And in here, it's basically you press add, and we go out and search for a company name. I'll just pick one off the top of my head. I'll say Embraer, for example. Sorry, Embraer, if you're in here. And it gives us a list of contacts under that company name. From here, I would simply just double-click on the ones I want to block from seeing what I have, and I'd press apply, and that's essentially it. Prior to this version, we didn't have a fetch size option in here, so it would take a while to return results from what you're searching. Now we've changed that to where I think it's 200. It's 200 results per page, so it loads a lot faster and it's a lot easier to use now. So this is the exclude list. Does anybody have any questions on this or how it's used at all? I can answer for you. No? Okay. Let's move on. PowerPoint. Where am I at here? Help me out. Did I? Oh, right here, right? Big screen. Here, do it for me. I don't know. Sorry about that. I'm new to PowerPoint. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is flagging capabilities as being a vendor. So on the header of every master part, we have a box along the bottom there. And you'll notice in the bottom left, where it says capabilities, right, we give you 6 options now, along with a control there that allows the capabilities to be seen on the stock market. A common one is the repair capability, right? If you're a repair station for this part number, you can advertise your ability on the stock market and receive RFQs concerning it. A lot of times I'll see somebody select repair, and in the repair description they'll say 145 repair station or something similar like that. Right. This is what we had for advertising your capabilities. Now we have the tool that Steve was showing you guys, but it can still be manually done on a part-by-part basis outside of that new functionality from every master part. Right? So if you are a broker or you're a manufacturer or you have an MRO facility and this part is on your capabilities list, I would very much suggest that you guys advertise that capability to the stock market. Okay? Any questions on this at all? No? Okay. I'll bring up Jason Blessing here, and he's going to talk about the next section.
Thank you, Thomas. So we're going to talk about today the stock market button on the master part, also known as the big green button. So if I just take myself back into Quantum here, and I go ahead and pull up any part number, I'll just go ahead and inspect our trusty 809. So this page here contains a button right here, kind of in the middle. Any of you ever wondered what this did? It's kind of always flashing a number at you. The number is usually always different. It's just basically telling you how many quantity of that particular part is being advertised on the stock market. Now, it could be an actual stock line. It could also be a capability as well. So as it sits there, it flashes. It keeps refreshing itself over and over. So if somebody else lists their stock line or their capability on the stock market or removes it, that number would obviously increase or decrease. So if I just go ahead and click on that button, it's actually going to pull up all the vendors that are displaying that part or capability on the stock market. I can go ahead and make this window a little bit bigger. And you can see here, we've got the vendor name. We've got the whatever, if it's a capability or if it's actual quantity. The condition represents quantity. As removed. The DIST obviously stands for distribution. That is your indication that that is a capability. This also provides a quantity. Okay, so if it's a distribution or if it's a capability, it will just usually list 1 as a quantity. If it is a actual stock line, if it's inventory, then you'll usually get a different quantity than 1. It could be 1, but it may be higher than that as well. As you can see, Aviation and Florida Technic or FL Technics are obviously the ones that are displaying this currently. Also, there's an images column here. This would indicate to you that they've actually provided an image through Quantum that you could actually view using the image button down here. See where it says Browse Images right here? So you basically just highlight the line item, and if I hit Browse Images, it's actually going to bring up the trace, and then I could just go ahead and view it if I wanted to by clicking View Image. Also in this screen is the ability to actually send RFQs directly to the vendor. You can simply flag one in the RFQ column. Now, if you were to flag a capability, like I did, It does tell me that this is a capability and it's not actual inventory. And did I want to continue with sending that RFQ to the vendor? So it does give you the choice, and it does let you know that, hey, this is not actual quantity, right? So that is your indication that the vendor may or may not actually have that part, but they may be capable of getting it. So if I say yes, it's going to go ahead and put that flag there. Now for the vendors that actually have quantity, if I go ahead and flag one there, it's going to actually indicate the quantity that they're actually advertising as what I'm requesting. But I don't need 25, I just want 1. So I can go in here and highlight that and just click 1, type in 1 there, and then actually changes that for me. Also, if we kind of move over here, there's other indications regarding the parts as well. If the vendor is providing the manufacturer, if they're displaying that, if they're actually telling you what the TSN or the TSO number are, if they're advertising what the serial number is, that will actually be here as well. The cert source, tag by, tag date information, and then also when they posted it. Now notice today it is July 18th. This is also indicating that these are Quantum customers. The reason why you know that is because all of these vendors here are in lowercase letters. Okay? If the vendor's name is in uppercase, that's your indication that they're not a Quantum customer, and they're advertising through our stock market typically. Okay? And they may have a different date over here as well. So this post date may be a date in the past, right, that they had uploaded their parts previously. And you can tell, obviously, that it's either new data or old data. Sorry, what's that? Can I inspect an image? Sure, no problem. I can definitely inspect an image.
At the end there, you saw the capability description. That's what Thomas was going over earlier, where when you flag those capabilities in the master parts, you can set that description. That's where they appear within the green button.
Let's go ahead and browse this image, this trace package here. And this right here, Avioserve is displaying their image right on the stock market. They're doing it through Quantum, and I'll actually show you how that can be done next. But I could scroll all the way down here as a potential customer and just see the entire document. Now, Avioserve could be using our document imaging module to scan these images right into Quantum. Okay, they could be uploading them as well, but regardless, they are using our document imaging module to go ahead and put these on their master parts, or on their stock lines rather. And they're even showing what the purchase order is. So they did in fact purchase this part. And this assembly certification. So they're listing 5 pages of very important data for a potential customer out there. Very handy stuff. Any questions on images, RFQs? The only other one thing I did want to mention is once I'm done flagging who I wanted to actually send RFQs to, I would hit this RFQ button down here at the bottom, Send RFQ. And that should actually give me a choice once I hit that button. It's going to say, do I want to go ahead and send it now through the stock market by using the Send Now button coming from my company, or do I want to preview it, preview the actual RFQ that I'm going to send out, and then I can send them through my email if I wanted to at that point. I could print them and fax them. I could, save them as a file and email them separately, however you want to do it. But it does give you the choice now to actually send it now through the stock market, and it's just an instantaneous transaction. Or, like I said, you could preview it and actually send it through your email if you wanted to. So that's kind of nice to give you that flexibility to be able to say, well, I want to preview my RFQs first. Maybe I want to send them a note, right? Because if you're attaching it to an email, you could provide a note to the vendor for that RFQ and say, whatever you like. I'm just going to go ahead and cancel that. Again, any other questions on the RFQ window, otherwise known as the big green button in Quantum? Oops, sorry. No? Okay. If you think of something later, feel free. So if I just go ahead and close this out, minimize it here, and then close that out. So the next item I wanted to discuss is, again, how to get those images out there on the stock market for your parts. So again, I'm going to take myself back into Quantum. And if I just go ahead and pull up a stock line here, I'm going to go over to our trusty little toolbar. And it's going to allow me to view all of my inventory for this particular part. A couple of things you could do. I could actually do it right from here. I could just click on the View Images button down here at the bottom. So whether I highlight a stock line, say View Images, that's actually going to take me right into the images for that stock line. Okay. Now that doesn't indicate that there is actual images for that stock line. It just allows me to either upload images or view them if they're there. If I went and go ahead and just inspect the stock line, it will actually bring up that stock line. And then I would have a little icon over here normally that would show that there's images. I don't have one for this particular stock line. But I do have a Document Images button down here at the bottom. Okay? And now it's going to open the exact same window that I was just in. You know, the Adding Images window. So if I go ahead and click Add here, I could type in a description of the image that I'm going to upload. And then the image code is what's actually important here. So when I'm choosing an image code, if I wanted to call it an 8130, right? So maybe I'm going to upload my 8130 for this part, okay? Maybe it's already in there. Maybe I uploaded it when I received the part in. So it could already be there. I don't have to do it right here on the stock line. But if I just go ahead and edit that image code, you'll notice here that we have a visible marketplace checkbox right on the image code, okay? So what that's going to do is any image that you upload to a stock line or wherever in Quantum, if you choose an image code that has that flag checked, that will allow you to provide customers, potential customers, with that image. Okay? If you don't want to display images on the stock market, just don't choose, either unflag that or choose an image code that does not have that flagged. Okay? So that's all there is to it. It's basically just choosing an image code that has that flagged or not flagged in order to get those images on and off the stock market. Just like I showed you a little bit earlier with Aviation. Any questions on the visible marketplace? Any questions on how to get your images out there? Any questions about sending RFQs through the big green button?
Can anyone print your images when they look at them? I'm just thinking security-wise. They can't print them, right?
You could save it as a file, right, like a PDF or whatever, and then you could go ahead and print it. Sure.
Okay.
The key is really to specify here in the image codes which images you want to be public and which you do not, because obviously some images are going to be for internal use only.
Right.
Check that visible marketplace for the image code 8130. You're clicking right there on that one stock line. Does that mean you're unleashing every part that's coded as 8130?
Yes, correct.
It is by image codes, so
Right.
you would want to have two separate image codes if you wanted one of the 8130s to be public and one to be private.
Well, if you want an individual stock line to not be visible for a particular reason, it needs to be, you need to name it an image code that you don't use very much.
Correct. Yeah. So every image that has that image code where that box is checked is going to show on the stock market. So you've got to choose a different image code that doesn't have that checked.
Normally, companies will have their normal, regular image codes, and then they will have one called public, and they'll double up on a lot of their images and include it as the public image code. And as well, you know, of course, this is only for stock lines that you have already set to be visible. If this stock line is not visible, that whether the image code is checked public or not, it won't be.
Yes. He's bringing the mic up. Sorry. Thank you.
The image codes, are they user-defined? Like you can restrict users from choosing multiples or editing?
Correct. The image codes can be user-defined, yes. Nothing else? Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and bring up Mr. Brown here, and he's going to discuss private communities.
All right, everybody. From your quiet demeanor, I'm going to draw a conclusion that you all had a really good time last night. So, just go on here with private communities. Now, what private communities are? How can they be? How can they work for you guys? And I'm sure many of you either have a sister company or possibly a trading partner that you do business with. And in the industry, it can be very tiresome to constantly be writing emails, calling them, checking up to see if they have a part you need in stock. Maybe the part changes. Maybe you have to, keep inquiring about it. Here's a simple solution to gain visibility between the buyer and the vendor or your trading partner or your sister company, whoever you define that you want to be using this. So as you can see, this is a very familiar browse window. And this is the browse window that comes up when you select that green button from a master part record, something that Jason just went over. And so when you bring it up, you can see here on the top, and I'll point to it with the mouse, originally we had that public community selected. Now what that public community is that is everything on stockmarket.arrow, everything that anyone is listing. However, we also have the option for a private community, and you can see this one here is labeled component control. Now, a private community allows you and or anyone else that you've set up on this private community to add stock, but only restrict visibility to those with access to this private community. So, for example, it could be me, it could be my trading partner, and it could also be a sister company of mine internationally. This allows transparency between us and our inventories so that we can easily go on there in quantum. We don't have to send an email. We don't have to pick up the phone. We can see what they have in stock in real time and how many quantity available they have. And this is a great tool. It's an additional service we offer at Component Control. And it's a great tool to be able to save time and really stay connected between, like I said, your trading partner, your sister companies, maybe someone else you do a lot of business with very closely. You guys have contractual agreements on what you buy and sell. And you can put those items in here and make it available, make that information available to anyone that you might want to trust and have on this private community. The next thing we're going to talk about.
Interrupt you for a moment. So we are going over, but Mr. Brown's just going to finish up real quick, and I want all of you to, so we are going to be not having a question section at the end, so I want all of you to spend your lunchtime kind of focusing on thinking up some questions for us, thinking about how excited you are for that new module, and come to that round table so we can all talk about it some more. Excuse me, Mr. Brown. Go ahead.
That's fine. And so with the pre-pricing tool allows you to price out stock lines based on either globally defined rules or rules defined on that part master. And for the sake of time, we're not going to go into great detail. The screen in the forefront of the image is going to show you the global options. Now, these are all done by the per 6 base condition codes we have in Quantum. There's a couple different ways we can apply pricing. We can apply it based on, we can apply it based on the list price and a discount. We can do it on the cost of the stock line with a markup value. Or if you guys set price lines, and if you use price lines in Quantum, you already have those set up, you can use those as well. We can populate the existing sales price, the stock market sale price, and the stock market list price. The back window you're going to see is going to be what it looks like when you go to apply the pricing for the stock lines on a master part record. So on the left-hand side, those are going to be the stock lines that are going to be affected globally by the rules we defined. And on the right, that's going to be the stock lines affected by the rules we set up per this part number. And so it really allows you to add pricing easily, quickly, from multiple stock lines, updating multiple records with just a few clicks. And so this is going to save you time. It can be beneficial, especially for those of you that are listing on stockmarket.arrow. And then we just have some more information here. And Mr. Powell is going to come up and explain this all.
So again, these are some great links for when you guys take these back to your employees. You are dismissed for lunch. But again, just focus on what we want to talk about on that round table, and I'll see you guys then. Thank you very much.